$29,000. Our buying experts want your car. Stop into the DV Buying Center and get it appraised instantly. Over 500 used, one location. Shop the used car and truck warehouse and everywhere at Drivers Village. See more at dvused.com.
WTLA North Syracuse, WSGO Oswego, W249BC Mattydale, W261AC Oswego, WTKWHD2 Bridgeport, ESPN Radio.
Fran Brown this, Fran Brown that.
If you want me to take a lie detector, Brian, I'll take it.
Portal watch this, Portal watch that.
The dog Mama Duke. People say I like that dog.
What are you talking about playing walk-on? Who do you think walked onto the team?
Anybody that thinks this is going to come back is either naive or plain stupid.
All across CNY.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
It's the 315.
Hardy faking, feeds the crease. Jameson got it!
He scores!
Here's Brian Higgins.
Oh, welcome in on a snowy CNY Tuesday. Game day! Game night! The snow is not an excuse. You will pay attention to the game tonight. Maybe. We will see tonight. Houston, Georgia Tech, 7 o'clock tip in the Dome. We got full coverage. We're just starting the coverage right now. Now! We're with you till tip. Tim Leonard post-game later. Welcome in, Q's, Utica, Rome. Q Sports Talk. What's up, Q Sports Talk? The YouTubes, the Twitch, wherever you are, wherever you feel like being on this fine Tuesday. What day is it? Tuesday. Getting back into the groove. Our one guest today is Randy Waters, the color analyst for the Georgia Tech radio broadcast. He'll be joining us a little earlier than we normally talk to guests, like in just several minutes from now, barely more than 10. He's going to get on the bus to go to the Dome for the game. So we got to, talk to him before he gets on the bus. So we'll talk to Randy coming up in just a few. Always good to chat with him. He's in his 30th year as the color analyst for Georgia Tech broadcast. That's a long time. That means that Randy has seen the ACC for a long time. The ACC, as we all know, Syracuse included, currently stinks out loud. So we'll ask Randy about that because he knows of what he speaks, ACC historically speaking. So we'll do that. We'll get you ready for the game. I still got 4 tickets for the game tonight. You looking to go? You and 3 other people? We'll sling them out to you later on in the show today. We can't wait too long. We need you to, get the tickets, decide you're going to the game, go to the game, do all the things one needs to do when they're attending a basketball game tonight in the old Dome. Later in the show, we'll get a little football into our lives. We told you we would yesterday. We never got around to it. Fran Brown was on ACC PM yesterday. It was in the PM on ACC Network and talking about the whole Kyle McCord situation. We'll dive into that later on in the program as well. Then we get to 6 o'clock time. It will be pregame time. We won't go anywhere. We'll just keep it rolling at 6 and get you ready for Cuse and Georgia Tech tonight. But with all that, welcome in here on this Tuesday. Be safe on the roads out there. I think it's a little better now. It was gross out there this morning. I was not mentally prepared for that, but it's January in Syracuse. Thus is the deal. So be safe out there when heading home from work, when heading to the game, wherever you are headed today out and about in CNY. With that, let's kick things off. Let's kick things off and hit the right button. That's a bad start. Bad omens for Syracuse basketball. I can't hit the right button to start the freaking show.
We start with a Burdick BMW opening drive.
Opening drive. Is it a bad omen that I can't start the show correctly? Who do we blame? Is this Red Autry's fault that I've hit the wrong button to start the show? Based on the general vibes in the community, yes, I think that was Red's fault that I hit the wrong button to start the show. Things are reaching a very odd tipping point. Not, I don't think, with Red's actual employment status with the university. I would be, and this is not me saying what should or should not happen. This is me thinking about what will actually happen. I would be beyond stunned if Red is not the head coach of the Syracuse men's basketball team next season. darn near regardless what happens for the next 2 months. Now, if they literally lose all of their games the rest of the season, which I don't think will happen, maybe things change. But based on how I generally think the rest of the season's going to play out, which won't be great, but, it'll be, Red's going to be back next year. Kyle Anthony, Sadiq White, Red's going to be back next year. Setting that conversation aside, you, our fine listeners, are fed up. And you're fed up, and I think it's all landing on Red. I don't know if you're actually fed up with Red. I think you're just fed up with the fact that Syracuse basketball has not been Syracuse basketball for 5 years now. I mean, it's been a while. It's been a while since Syracuse basketball has, on a day-in, day-out basis, acted like it did for 40 years, where every year at this time, you knew you were in for something. Would they make the tournament? Would they not? You couldn't be sure of that. You felt good about the tournament, but you didn't know. Would they be ranked? Would they be not? You felt good about a ranking, but you didn't know. Would they win a game? Would they not? You didn't know. But you felt like you were in for something for your winter every year in Syracuse, where Syracuse basketball would entertain you, and often enough in an enjoyable way that it would keep you locked in for the 3 months of the winter. This year, obviously, it's going differently. We know you're all locked in. We can see the numbers of people watching and listening to us after these losses. We know you're all still paying attention regardless of what you may be claiming. We know you're pissed off and fed up. We know it. They are too. You think Red's happy with what's going on, or we're happy with what's going on? No, nobody's happy with this right now. They're 6-8. This ain't Syracuse basketball. It's not what Syracuse basketball has been for a single day in the last 50 years. It's just not the way it is around here and has been around here. Everyone's disappointed. And I think all of that in the public sphere recently has landed squarely on Red's shoulders. And this is the continued lesson of the, man, you don't want to be the guy to follow the guy. Why? Because of that. Because the job is hard. It's not a Red thing or a Boeheim thing or, Coach K or Shire or whatever. No, the job's hard. It's hard to follow a guy like that. It's almost impossible to follow a guy like that, regardless if you were an outside hire, if you were the coach in waiting, if you were the guy that followed the coach in waiting. Regardless of who you are, it's a hard job. But everything lands on you. The fact that it was sliding a little bit before the transition was made lands on you. The fact that it wasn't sliding a bit before that, and things were great for a long time, that lands on you too. And the fact that this year stinks, and everyone can admit that it stinks right now, that lands on you. But I think a lot of people are ready to just toss Red out, toss him out to sea at this moment, which I find more a misplaced landing point of everybody's thoughts at the moment than anything else. And this is not we got to be nice to Red and treat. No, you can criticize this year's team, but I think it's more like where is the criticism coming from and where is it landing other than, well, let's blow one guy up and that'll fix everything. I find it very strange here what's going on, especially vis-a-vis Red here in the last, month or so. In the last month or so, it just feels a bit odd how things are going. That every ill of everything, and this is how it is as the head coach, but everything is landing on this guy. But I get it. People's patience right now is totally shot with this team. And that's not just from this year. That's from multiple years of the bubble or hoping you're on the bubble, or not making the tournament, not doing the things that we are used to and had become entitled to here in Syracuse. We enjoyed the regular season. The regular season provides most of the entertainment. There's way more regular season games than postseason games, but we go through all of that. Why? To get to March and be there and be in the dance, and there's the fun. These games can be fun, but man, it's all to lead up to that. And that's not been there now in multiple years. And that's not fun, and then boom, it lands on one guy. And I think the main difference is from the inside, John Wildhack, Red Autry, the people that are the board of trustees, Ken Sivert, whomever's actually going to be making decisions on these things. You can't make the knee-jerk decisions that we all get to feel while we're watching the games, that we all get to be pissed off about and watching and say, this ain't what we're used to, this stinks, it's all terrible. Yeah, and while that's true, that doesn't mean you just start slamming the reset button every 7 seconds. But that's what we get to do as observers, fans, people watching the games that I don't think they get to do, nor should they do behind the scenes. That would be irresponsible to do behind the scenes. That said, we're sitting here a year from now and having the same conversation. Like, it's a problem now. We're sitting here a year from now and having the same conversation. It's beyond a problem. It's massive. I don't say everybody needs to be out there with pom-poms and whatever, cheerleading. No, it stinks right now. We're allowed to say it stinks. But the solution to it stinking right now is not blowing up the whole operation and thinking it will be fixed tomorrow. I think they're two very different things. Very different things. That said, it stinks right now. They all know it stinks right now. Everyone's aware of it. We'll have Griff on the show tomorrow. He's aware of it. Red's aware of it. Red will be on Orange Nation tomorrow. They lose the game tonight. It's in play. Point spreads, give or take a pick 'em right now. It's been right around less than 2 points, I think, all day, one way or the other. It's a pick 'em. It's a coin flip kind of game. You can win them, you can lose them. Syracuse loses tonight. They're 0-4 in the league, and they're staring squarely at 16 more games and wondering if they're going to make the ACC tournament. Tonight is a big game to at least help alleviate that worry for a day. Taking a half a step back would be, I think, a wonderful thing for all involved. But in order to do that, they got to win the game tonight. They got to win the game tonight. But it is by far a gimme against a team that's already 2-2 in the league and has won a couple of these bottom of the league games already against Notre Dame and against Boston College. So will Syracuse win tonight? I don't know. I think it's going to be a coin flip. I think it's going to be close late. But if they do, maybe that allows everyone just to take at least half a breath. Half a breath. And we'll see how that could play out for the rest of the season. And that is our Burdick BMW opening drive for today. With that, let's see how the markets went here on this fine Tuesday in the Q's. For that, we got Lee Baldwin himself today. Hey, Lee, how'd it go today?
Brian, it went today. Stocks fell. They're led down by the NASDAQ, which was down about 1.8%. And that's just one day after chipmaker NVIDIA hit an all-time high. So go figure. Oil stocks do get our diamonds, all of them. Crude was up. It's been up 3% already this year. And finally, Bitcoin player MicroStrategy gets our solid dog, falling 10% on this session. And I like Syracuse tonight, Brian. I'm going to end with that.
There we go. A positive thought, Lee. We'll take it. We need some positive vibes around here.
We do here on Wall Street, too.
That's for sure. Hopefully they can both have a good morning tomorrow. All right, Lee. Thank you as always.
You got it.
Our guy, Lee Baldwin. Check him out. And all the guys, LeeBaldwin.com for all of the diamonds and none of the dogs. Hopefully that applies to Syracuse basketball tonight. All right, let's get to a break. We'll talk to Randy Waters from the Georgia Tech radio broadcast when we come back. Get the Yellow Jacket perspective on things, he said, for tonight. We'll do that next. Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
Syracuse.
Yeah, I'd say VP in the YouTube chat, like Red's lineups, I'd say if you're looking at his actual X's and O's right now, I would say that is high up there on his weak coaching points at the moment. Well, the good and the bad of that dilemma, Cuse, is that in the portal era, in this quick turnaround era, it almost doesn't matter as much anymore with something like that. That in years gone by, that would kill you for a while. Yeah, the lack of effort thing, but to Devo's point yesterday, like, is that on the coach? Like, these guys are 22, 23. The coach should be providing their effort? I'd say there's plenty of things to bag on Red for. That's lower on my list. That's on the guys. I wouldn't go that far, Evelby guy. I know he's failed at it, but what I'm saying, Dilemma Cuse, is all right. Say next season goes badly and you make a change. That the next and say you make the right hire after next season. That's not Red, and that person's good at the portal. That just because it's a year delayed, you're not screwed as Syracuse basketball. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Dilemma Cuse. If you hired the guy, Whether it was the right move or not is a moot point now. You hired the guy for the job. You have to at least let him do the job for a few years. Or else you should have hired somebody different 2 years ago. And there's a lot of reasons this was a continuity hire. I compare it a lot more to Schaefer. Like, Schaefer was a continuity hire coming off Marone. He got 3 years. He got 3 years. Yeah, it's wasted, but at the same time, Delemacuse, is it? Like, it sucks. It's not fun. But in the current portal era, in the current recruiting era where things change so fast, it doesn't set you back forever to have one bad year. Yeah, San Diego Q's, realistically, I'm leaning that way. But, like, if you're not going to give him 3 years, then you shouldn't have hired him in the first place. I don't think it's such a grease fire disaster that you pull the plug. Like, I look back at last year, and I look at the beginning of last year, I'm like, oh, Red's got some stuff to learn. Then I look at the end of last year, I'm like, okay, they're doing some stuff. I can see little tweaks and adjustments they're making. And yeah, you had better players. And this year I'm not seeing as much of that. And maybe that's because you just whiffed on the portal. I don't know. And I get it. You're the head coach. It all falls under your purview. It's not like in the NFL where you can, oh, man, the roster stinks. Let's blame the GM. The coach is okay. I just think you have to give him 3 years regardless, whether it stinks or not. Like, he still has a career-winning record. Yeah. And then, hey, if they whiff on the portal last year and you come in next year and all you got is JJ, Cayenne, and Sadiq, and who knows, say Donnie's gone. I mean, I know everyone's worried about now, oh, Elijah Moore's lost his minutes. Will he transfer? I mean, anything can happen these days. Yeah. But, man, it's tough for him if you got the axe looming over your neck the whole time. Pun not intended. Yeah, winning less than 10 games won't be fun, San Diego Q's. So hopefully they can scrape out a few, please.
All across central New York, it's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
All right, here we are. Q's Georgia Tech Dome tonight. 7 o'clock tip. A guy that's about to be on his way over to the Dome is the color analyst for the Georgia Tech radio broadcast, Randy Waters. Randy, always great to chat this time of year. Damon Stoudemire's first game in the Dome since he played way back in the day. That should be fun tonight to get Damon back in a place that he played some basketball some 30 years ago.
Yeah, he mentioned that when we walked into the shoot-around last night and this morning, and I guess it was last night the first time we went over, and he said, "Yeah, looks a little different than when I played in it." I said, "Well, they've updated a few things since you played in it."
Changed the seats, took down the curtain. They've done a thing or two in the last 30 years since he was there. I mean, it's quite legitimately 30. I hate to say this, that 1994 was 30 years ago, but my goodness, yeah. It was. And here we are. It's two teams. We know the Orange are struggling. Georgia Tech's been up and down this season. What are you making here of this league? When I look at it, Randy, you've seen this league for a long time. I think it caught some unfair arrows maybe the last couple of years, but my goodness, this year the league does not look any great shakes at the moment.
Yeah, it's just, in fact, Mike Singmus from Georgia Tech Sports Information and he was pointing it out to me earlier today about how in the top 20 rankings, it's Duke, right, Moose? That was it, wasn't it? In the top 20, wasn't Duke the only one? Yeah, and it just seems so strange. You look at some of the clubs around, like Carolina's still got great guard play, but they don't seem to have the front court
right
up to par like it used to be. What's happened to Syracuse here, and they obviously were, many times in the top 20. Wake Forest is, I haven't talked to Stan Cotton a lot yet, but You've seen Wake Forest. Hunter Salas is awfully good. He took over that game basically from what I saw or heard.
Yeah, he did.
Some of the just, quote, traditional powers are not holding up to the tradition. And as I told a friend of mine in Atlanta, you know what? When you look at the SEC and how many teams are in the top 20, 25, whatever, I got 3 words for you. Football money matters.
It does, and then it leads to 3 more letters, right? NIL. They go,
yes.
they go hand in hand, right? Do you think it's just that, Randy? Do you think it's something else? I mean, we've seen all. I don't know if you want to call it a brain drain. All these Hall of Fame coaches that have retired from the league here in the last few years. What do you think is the balance of the reasoning why we've arrived at this point here in 2025?
Well, I think what we just talked about there for a few seconds is a big factor. Also, I think kids nowadays, honestly, do they appreciate if Roy Williams was still coaching at North Carolina? Do they appreciate his record?
Yeah.
Do they deal, or is that, would that be just so much ancient history? And I'm not picking on Roy, Coach K, whoever, Coach Boeheim, or would it just be so much irrelevant ancient history to them? Where they're focused on the NIL and whatever.
That's why, I look at Damon Stoudemire, and it's such a fascinating hire now that he's in his second year with Georgia Tech, or guys like Damon, right? Like, he played, in the grand scheme of things, quasi-recently, but in the scheme of the players now, they didn't see him play either. Like, how much does Damon, as a guy that was, a legit big-time player, NBA player, how much does he resonate with the kids these days?
From what I've seen in his interaction with his players, that it matters. That NBA pedigree matters, because after all, they got this not real recent invention called YouTube or whatever. They can see what he did if they want to find out what he did and how he did it. And he's stepped into the situation last year after Josh was dismissed, and it was kind of a hurry-up thing. Nate George, he didn't know he was getting Nate George until like the day before classes started at Georgia Tech last year, and it was just kind of a last-minute thing. And that's one of the big differences, not to stray too far from your question, but that's one of the big differences in this team this year was right from the get-go. Nate George and Mike Dongo, 2 great, really, really good freshmen last year, now sophomores. As he told those 2 guys, you're at the top of the scouting report now. You weren't there last year. You're going to get played differently. And Nate said from the get-go, defenses are playing him to kind of take away the pass. They'd rather have him shoot than get the offense in gear the way Damon wants him to. So that was kind of interesting to me when Nate told me that.
And then you look at Dongo. He had a huge game against Syracuse last year down in Atlanta, and he's been fine this year, right? But kind of up and down. What do you notice? A guy like him, a sophomore big who's so talented, but as you said, people are paying more attention to what he's up to this year.
Well, I think some of the injuries to others impacted him because that limited the perimeter game. Kawasi Reeves this will be the 10th game he's missed. He was, frankly, Georgia Tech's best or second best 3-point shooter last season, and a pretty big body too. He could go to the glass too a little bit. Luke O'Brien, the transfer from Colorado, he'll be missing his 5th game tonight. He's got a walking boot on his foot, just like Kawasi Reeves has on one of his feet. And Javian McCollum. It's kind of like Starling coming back for Syracuse. Javian McCollum, grad transfer from Oklahoma, in the Cincinnati game. He took a shot to the head on a collision. He made a 3 afterwards, and he told Andy Demetra, play-by-play guy, as you well know, a Syracuse alum. He told Andy he didn't remember making that shot.
Wow.
After he took that hit, and he missed 4 games, and he's back. And so he's back, and after 4 games missed because of that, and Georgia Tech, kind of like Syracuse, Syracuse has struggled, and they're still winless against Power 5, if I'm correct, and so was Tech for a while, but then Notre Dame and BC, they got the back-to-back wins, and Javian was huge. He was 13 of 22 and 4 of 11 from 3. And with him on the floor with Nate George, it's like having 2 point guards out there. Really is.
Unfortunately for you, you're very correct. Syracuse is 0-8 right now against Power 5 teams, so it's not gone well in those games, and it's getting progressively worse in the last couple of games with margins going up here. One guy you didn't mention there, as we got Randy Waters from the Georgia Tech radio broadcast, is Lance Terry. And, man, he lit it up the last time he was in the Dome. He had 7 threes as part of a game where, what did Georgia Tech in the game? It was 18 threes. It was just an unbelievable shooting effort here, as you remember 2 years ago. Leading scorer right now, how much are they relying on him this year from the outside?
Well, quite a bit, but I do think with the return of McCollum that's going to help Lance as well. I mean, hey, he's been doing fine. He was 4 of 8 from distance against Notre Dame and BC combined, and 12 of 18 overall. And he doesn't turn the ball over. He looks for his shot, but he doesn't do so at the expense of the flow of the offense. And you know what? I mean, the NIL, we know all about that. Everybody talks about it. I do too. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest with you. I don't know if Lance Terry's getting a dime. I don't know what's going on there. But I'll tell you this: he grew up on the court of a community center in College Park, Georgia. He was a basketball, just freak. And his dad worked there, and he'd go to work every day with his dad and shoot and work. And that's one of those stories in college basketball that kind of gets underappreciated, considering the headlines about all the NIL and so on.
Yeah, that used to be like one of the stories of college basketball, right? And it's certainly changed a lot here in the last few years, Randy. I look at this Georgia Tech team. Compare this year's team to me, if you can, to last year's team. Because, man, we think back to last year. Georgia Tech didn't win a ton of games, but, man, when they did, they were like these big upsets, and they were knocking off all these top teams in the country. You never quite knew what they were going to be. When you saw what you saw last year to what they are this year, what is translated between these 2 years?
Well, I do think again that nobody knew what Georgia Tech had in Dongo, in the front court, and again, Kawasi Reeves was a good shooting guard and another relatively good rebounder. That was a difference there. And like I said, Wasey hadn't played in quite some time. This will be game number 10 out for him. I think it has been adjustments to exactly what Damon Stoudemire was talking about. Nate George kind of is a straw that stirs the drink, and opponents know that, and he is right up there on the scouting report, and it's a factor. I mean, he came out of nowhere literally last year. He came from where people expected him to be wearing skates. Came out of Toronto, and so it's a different deal for him now. But he's getting used to it. And the whole team is getting used to it. And one of the transfers who is healthy, Duncan Powell, I mean, that guy was like 1 for 17 or 20 or something from 3 in his first few games. But he, like some other people, has gotten in Damon Stoudemire's, under his tutelage, that, hey, the fewer threes we take coming off the bounce, the better off we are. And it's amazing. The last few games, they've had very, very few threes that they've taken off the bounce, off the dribble, and also most of their threes have been kick-out catch and shoots. And they're pretty dangerous when that's the case because to be honest, the bigs haven't been very productive. It's kind of a guard-forward offense for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, last thing, Randy. I know your bus is about to shove off to the Dome here. What do you think decides it tonight?
Oh, I would say the guard play on each side of the court tonight. If the trio of McCollum and George and Lance Terry perform like they have been recently, I think it might be hard for Syracuse to keep pace with the scoring. Now, I also need to mention, Jaden Mustoff, freshman guard, that's taken the performance of those other three I mentioned has taken a lot of pressure off him. He's got a great body. He doesn't have a great shooting touch, but he'll stick his head in there, and that's enabled him to not worry too much about the perimeter success. That he can just kind of try to go with the offense and hit the glass and defend.
All right, Randy. Appreciate the time as always. Safe trip over to the Dome. No, we got some snow out there for you, which I'm sure you're enjoying. But enjoy the game tonight, and always great to chat.
Well, we seem to be drawing something to us. We're supposed to go to SMU Friday to play Saturday, and evidently Dallas is going to get ready to have a quite post-Christmas day or something.
I'd say I feel a lot safer for you being here with snow than I do for you down in Dallas. I don't know how many plows they got out and about.
Amen to that.
All right, Randy. Appreciate the time. Enjoy it tonight.
Okay, thank you.
There he is, our guy Randy Waters from the Georgia Tech radio broadcast. I say this, yeah, it was a kind of a gross day driving out there, out in Syracuse, and be safe wherever you are. But them plows, they push it out of the way. Down in Dallas, like it's going to affect. They're talking their game with SMU, the Cotton Bowl coming up. This is it Thursday, Friday. It's the Ohio State Texas game. It's the national semifinal of the college football playoff, and Dallas is potentially about to be crippled by a snowstorm. They don't have either plows. They just what's this white stuff? We're supposed to get the oil coming up, not the snow coming down. This is the wrong color and coming from the wrong direction. No bueno. No bueno. All right, let's take a break here. When we come back, phone line's open. Phone line's open the rest of the way. We can chat about whatever you'd like at 315-437-7644. More basketball thoughts to get to. Football next hour. Kyle McCord. No, nothing's happened yet. Just late. I'm keeping you on your toes, people. We are just ready for full battle stations when anything goes down involving McCord. We are ready to go at a moment's notice. I don't know what we're going to do. Just yell and scream. But we are ready to go if anything should happen involving Kyle McCord at any second of time. We're ready. We're ready, Kyle. Just, let us know. Give us a smirk. Give us a nod, and we will advance to our battle stations and be ready to go for full second by second Kyle McCord coverage whenever it should happen. Whenever it should happen. But right now, gosh, I almost forgot to do it. We have 4 tickets left for the game tonight. I would love to give them all of them, to a fine group, a family 4-pack. You want to take the kiddos to the game tonight? You got a group of people you want to go to the game tonight? Family 4-pack of tickets. Cuse Georgia Tech right now. Like this is like you're canceling your dinner. You're like put it back in the fridge. We're getting hot dogs instead. Yeah. Caller 3. Right now, 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. Family 4-pack. Stop cooking dinner right now. Pick up the phone. You're going to the game today. Caller 3, family 4-pack, 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. When we're done with that, use the same number and you can call and talk to me. And I won't give you anything. Those are the last tickets we have. We'll talk about something else. Back after this, Q Sports Talk, ESPN Radio.
The sport.
I'd say if Fran is right and an NCAA decision's coming by the end of the week, then they'd have to win today before that. Unless Fran was just trying to speak the NCAA decision into existence. Oh, man. Save us, Kyle. Kyle McCord coming back to Syracuse would do more to get us off Red's back than anything the basketball team can do right now. That is the scuttlebutt, San Diego Cuse. I have not heard that for sure from anywhere I trust to hear that from. Yeah, cities like that they literally don't own plows. Like, cities where it doesn't snow, they don't literally waste money on owning plows. Especially in Dallas, where it's so spread out there. Just a mess. Because Dallas and Arlington and those areas are not nearby. There's large highways. Lots of stuff. I understand the lack of patience still I'm accused, but I get it. I just don't think it's actually going to change anything. I think once you are the administration and you have made the other decision, for whatever reason the other decision was made, like you have to stick with the decision for more than a minute. It can't possibly snow there a second time, can it, San Diego Q's? Maybe. Yeah, I just don't know what the basement floor is. Like, is it literally going 0-20 in the league? Like, that would be, I can't even conceive of it. That's what I don't know. Is there, like, them going, all right, say they go 6-14 in the league this year. Like, that's, I mean, it stinks, but that's not what's happening. Dan Moran, he rhymes. Whatever happened to Minnesota Dan? Where's Minnesota Dan at? We know Mike and Dan are best buds. Do we need a wellness check? Let's see. Where's Pastor Tim? Or Minnesota Dan? I feel we need to have like more vital information on these people to like. Maybe he's gone to find Dan. Yeah. Where are these people at? Like Minnesota Dan was all up in this chat until like right before Christmas. Mike is breaking the studio. Yeah, like say they go 3-17 in the league. They'd finish with nine wins. They'd be 9-22. Yeah, snow was not fun today, Kev. I imagine worse for you. I just had to get through it the once. I think that factors in legitimately, Supercat. You got Sadiq White and Kyan Anthony coming in. And add in the fact of who Kyan is. Like you gotta make sure that plays out. Oh, you're welcome, Bowling Ball. I know you're there, Bowling Ball. You're working out till 5 so you can then go skydiving. We don't Gavendo's here. I know you're here, Matt. We don't need to go fight. I know you're there. Yeah, I do wonder. I was in and out of it last night, San Diego Q's. It was like a lot of over-explanation, but I get it was necessary for what they're trying to pull off.
5. Here's Brian Higgins.
We've done it. We've given away our tickets. 4 more people. Add them to the group. Our work here is done. Time to go home. No, we'll be here till close to tip. Phone lines open from now, basically until then. 315-437-7644. We won't stay on football all the time. I mean basketball all the time. That's a Kyle McCordian slip. We'll get a little football in later. So, hoops, what you're going to see tonight. We encourage you, as always, to listen to the game on TK99 and ESPN 1200. But this information dropped earlier today. The newest employee of Disney ESPN and primarily here, the ACC network, is none other than former Syracuse great Michael Carter-Williams. How about that? And when, you might ask, will you be seeing Michael Carter-Williams make his debut on your television? And the answer is halftime tonight. MC Dubs in studio. Well, that's cool. Well, like Mike. I always enjoyed talking to him. Man, he was a great player. Oh, I love Michael Carter Williams' game in college. He was so much fun to watch. But I also wonder, like, okay, ACC Network, are you taunting us now? Devo last game, Michael Carter Williams tonight, Boeheim's all over the place. Like everywhere you turn, you're like, oh, well, that guy played for a number one team, national championship, Big East championship, this thing, that. Like, just, I can't. It's a lot. It's a lot. Now, I'll gladly take that over a bunch of, random former Virginia players that don't know diddly poo about Syracuse. But, man. But MC Dubs in the studio tonight. He's going to be on color for a Cuse game later this month, I believe. I've already forgotten what game it is. It's later this month, but he's going to be doing it. It looks like a lot of halftime studio analysis stuff for ACC Network. So odds are, if you see a Cuse game on ACC Network coming up here in the future, you will get to see Michael Carter Williams as part of the broadcast. Eric Devendorf, who we had on the program yesterday, he's going to be on the call for the two games on the ACC Network next week, which are Louisville and Notre Dame. Yes, those are the two games coming up next week. So we'll get him in. I've not crossed paths with Boeheim on my TV yet this year, but I'm sure we'll get that sooner than later. So, man, ACC Network, thanks for hiring all the Cuse people, and not even us Newhouse people. You're grabbing everybody from the Cuse. We like that. But man, it's just like every time, as bad as this season is going, you just get slapped over your head with the good times. There they are, right there. There's Devo. The good times. MCW. Remember that time they won at number one Louisville? That was fun. Remember that Final Four? Remember being number one in the country? That was fun. Yeah. And then Boeheim, which is just factors into literally every other moment that you remember. Like, that was fun. And then you look at the scoreboard and you're like, oh, that's not fun. That's not fun. Hopefully things will change tonight. Cuse and Georgia Tech tipping off at just past 7 o'clock inside the Dome this evening. We will take a break. You know what dropped earlier today?
Has lacrosse season started?
The schedule's actually out. That took long enough. The season starts in less than a frickin' month. Less than a month. Oh, wait, we got a call on the line. Well, back to hoops. Unless Pat wants to talk lax with us. Pat? Just saw you up there. What's going on, Pat?
Well, if I wanted to talk about a winner, I think we would start talking lacrosse. It's kind of hard to think about lacrosse when you got a snowbank to your left and to your right.
Yes, the opener being on February 1st feels a little early, but that is the world we live in right now.
This Michael Carter Williams thing is a good transition into what I think we talked about this one lineup before. Look, Carlos is trash. Okay, he should have never been taken. He was the third or fourth choice. He's not good enough. It's settling. Okay, that's the theme of this call. We settled for Carlos. Mm-hmm. We had other options to do before JJ got hurt. I will argue we had other options even while JJ was hurt. We haven't talked, and I, people are going to shrug their shoulders, but I did get some information on some of the last week or two with Chance Westry and why that's off the table. Have you discussed it on your show? Because I've been too busy snowblowing. Not a ton. I mean, we've seen Chance. He's been in street close the last few games. So certainly hasn't played in a while. So no, he's kind of been backburnered here of late. Yeah. So. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that. It's an unfortunate situation, and three of our best potential is the key word. So I don't want people putting words in my mouth. Three of the potential most talented players for a good stretch of the season have given us nothing. So and that's tough to recover for any coach, especially a coach that's struggling. And it's kind of funny, Brian. I turned your show on. I'm going to be 100% honest. I had remembered on Saturday that we played Tuesday, but then more important things have come. Sunday, Monday, and all day today been busy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know or care that we're playing Georgia Tech and we're a 1.5-point dog or favorite or whatever tonight. It's a sad state. I remember just a few years ago on your show, I would literally know the 6th, 7th, and 8th man on Georgia Tech and how I thought that could affect the outcome of the game. And now I can't even tell you 2 guys on Georgia Tech. It stinks. I think we settled for a head coach. I think we settled for Carlos, and those are 2 of the most important components to any team, right, Brian? You know basketball. You need a leader at the point, and you need a leader with the clipboard. We just don't have it, and it's not going to get better. There's been articles posted from people who used to run your airways, and I couldn't agree with them more. And it's I think the longer we wait, let me ask you a question. If you were John Wildhack, Brian,
mm-hmm.
and you would say, I could see both sides of the coin. You got to give him 3-4 years, see what he can do. But I can also respect those people that say, and I'm kind of in the middle. I can also respect those people that would say, I've seen enough. Okay, people forget the decline did not start. Okay, I was the first. I was one of the most pronounced people on your show to always blame Boeheim. Okay,
mm-hmm.
but let truth be told, I believe if Hopkins was still there when Autry was the number 2, supposedly the number 2, although if you listen to Jerry on his coach's show and the way he articulated versus what was going through Autry's head, I would have picked Jerry 10 times out of 10. But the point is not that. I think it would have been a great thing because I think Red is a stronger recruiter than Jerry. I think he can go into these kids' homes and get it done. I think he's a great number 2. He's not the guy. So what I'm asking you is, have you seen enough, if you're John Wildhack, to know that the chance of him being the guy is you've already seen enough? Have you seen enough?
No, I think with this reason here. Like, obviously, this season's going terribly. Last season was better than this season. I think you have to take that into consideration.
Yeah,
I think that
Brian,
go ahead.
Let me just ask you, what about the last 5 years? I mean, does Autry get a pass because Boeheim ran the show on game day? Boeheim also delegated everything. Jim wanted to take care of the game day, and he wanted his assistants to take care of everything else. It's my opinion, but I really believe it strongly. So I think Autry should not get a pass for being part of the staff and part of the decline, and he should not get a pass for last year. Last year stunk. It was awful. It was not good. I'm so sick of people saying, "Oh, we won 20 games." We won 3 games. I've said it 100 times. We've won 3 games in the last couple years that you'd even want to go back and revisit and look at the highlights of them. I mean, it's just awful. It used to be 3 games a week. It's just bad. And you know what? Georgia Tech will probably beat us, and they're one of the bottom 4 teams in the league. It's a tough state. I'll have more fun listening to Boeheim and Michael Carter Williams than watching the game. Brian, thanks for the therapy session. I'll talk to you post game.
All right, there we go.
You're probably not even there, are you? Are you there?
You get to talk to Tim tonight. You and Tim can commiserate post game tonight to see how it goes after the game, Pat.
What if I wanted Paulie? I mean, how would that work out? Oh, I did call him, by the way.
Yeah, you gotta go to the game. You gotta get Paulie in person tonight. He'll be courtside, so you gotta.
Maybe I'll give him a Diet Coke.
There you go. Hey, if you give Paulie a diet soda, I mean that will mend all fences in the world. He will gladly accept. I'd like to think. So
yeah, maybe I'll take a picture of me and Paulie and put it on social media and let everybody bash both of us.
I think that
would be fun.
I think that could be a great healing moment for the entire fan base. I think I advocate for it strongly, Pat. I say go for it. All right.
Brian, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Pat. There's our guy, Pat. I say this. Like, I get what Pat's saying. No, things don't look great right now. I say if you make this decision as a continuity hire to hire Red, Jerry, I don't care. Go back. If it had happened 7 years ago, hop. It doesn't matter. This is all the same thing. If you make that decision, you have to give it at least 3 years. Or you shouldn't have made the decision in the first place. But once you make that decision, unless it is the biggest grease fire disaster that has ever happened, not just not living up to what we want. And we know it's not living up to what we want. But is this ain't right now what Louisville was the last 2 years. That's the easiest comparison. Louisville won 12 games in 2 years. It was obvious. Obvious. Things are not trending well right now. It's not like, holy crap. This year's kind of holy crap, but it's still not as bad as Louisville was the last 2 years. You got to give it 3 years. Just to see. You might have an inkling, and hey, it's your job. John Wildheck's job is the AD, and basketball head coaching decisions are not just the purview of the AD. It's the trustees, it's the chancellor, it's the whole thing. But it's your job to, if the moment happens, all right, let's say they lose out, go 0-20 in the league. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but let's have a fun thought experiment. This is not a fun thought experiment. Whatever the opposite of a fun thought experiment is. The most depressing Syracuse basketball thought experiment ever. Going 0-20 in the frickin' ACC. And you end up being, what are they now? 6-8. They'd be 6 and, how many games are they? They'd be 6-25. It's not good. And even then, I don't think it's automatic. Even then, I don't think it's automatic. It would be terrible. But in this era of NIL, of portal, of things moving quickly, and again, I reference Louisville. You talk rock bottom, they hit it. The last 2 years, they hit it. And look at them now. They're fine. They're fine. That's as fast as it can turn south. But in this era, that's as fast as it can turn north. And I think because of that, because it's not digging necessarily a deeper and deeper hole that you can't get out of, I don't think it's going to do like irrevocable harm to the program to give the guy another year. Even if it's not, doesn't work out. I don't think it's going to break the program permanently. I think some people think that oh my God, Red's not the guy. We give him 1 more year. The program never has a chance to be good again. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. I think they are two separate thoughts. I don't think they're necessarily tied together. With that, phone lines remain open when we come back. 315-437-7644. What were we talking about?
Is it lacrosse season?
Maybe we'll get to the lacrosse. I don't know. Football? Kyle McCord! No, nothing's happened. 315-437-7644. Back after this on this hour, brought to you by William Attard, Q Sports Talk at ESPN Radio. Oh, man. And I realize there's money aspects, but I don't even... it is, Zach, Doug Sherman and Malcolm Huckabee. Doug Sherman and Malcolm Huckabee on your television tonight. Michael Carter-Williams, halftime studio analyst. Look, it's Mike. Getting ready for our second mini air hockey matchup of 2025, of which I've lost the first all-time series. Mike 5, me 4. Let's see if we can tie things up. Yeah, that's crazy talk, Super Cat. Mike has turned it on. The air is a-flowing.
All right, you ready? Oh, yeah, you're right. Damn it. Oh, it didn't make it.
Back to the center of the goal.
Oh.
What is going on right now?
No.
What?
No, this is my worst performance
Finally.
ever, dude.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, I should have made it 3 different times. Oh, that was so embarrassing. I let myself down. I let the people down.
I think I won that game 4-0 to 1.
That was such an embarrassing performance. Every part of that I did terrible.
Yeah.
I almost scored on myself twice.
Go me. Oh, man. Yeah. Wear it, Mike. All-time series remains retied. We can't save ourselves the emotional trauma, Super Cat. We wouldn't be having any fun if we did that. It's true, Super Cat. Mike hasn't done anything else all day, nor does he plan on it. What's going on over on the YouTube? I keep clicking away from the tab. Sorry, YouTube. Sorry, John Noir. I'm paying attention. Super Cat's going zen. Would you like to be in the Hall of Shame, Gaper Bingzoid? I mean, Carlos was brought in because they didn't get the guys they actually wanted, and then he was the next guy up. Seems to be, in general, what happened. I thought that would be an honor, Gaper Bingzoid. To be remembered for all time. We celebrate and cherish our entire chat community, both on the YouTube and on the Twitch. Especially if you enjoy a refreshing, cool Lipton Hard Iced Tea, now in a variety pack. I had the peach the other day. Refreshing. Oh, is this Grumpy John on the line? Oh, boy. I believe you mean refreshing, CJC.
Brian Higgins.
Back at it here on this Monday, Q's Georgia Tech. We are a little bit more than 2 hours out. Orange and the Yellow Jackets in the Dome tonight. All-time series, 8 games each. Orange have lost the last 2. We'll see if they can pick up their first win of essentially any consequence tonight this year inside the Dome. Get their first win of 2025, first in the ACC play this year. Phone lines open and available to you, 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. Let's bring in our guy John in the queues. Hey, John, what's up?
Not much. I heard you mention Louisville in the last.
Sorry, John. Start over. I didn't hit the button right. Welcome in.
Hi. I heard you mention Louisville, that, look at the difference in the last 2 years with them, which is true. But they also brought in a new coach.
They did, yes.
And it turned them around in night and day. And for the people that are thinking, give them another year because they got Sadiq White coming in and Kiyan Anthony, true, they're very good players. But remember, I don't think those 2 players can do it by themselves. They're good players. You got to remember, these are going to be Syracuse freshman recruits. These are not Duke freshman recruits, and there is a big difference. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'd say my main comparison, John, to Louisville is what they did is, they didn't fire the guy after a 4-win season. They waited until another bad season. I'd say when I'm comparing year to year, it's more like even Louisville, after a 4-win season, they still brought Kenny Payne back for another year. That's kind of where I'm at with Red right now. Like you just got to let it breathe for a minute, even if it's not going to be the right answer long term.
Okay, thank you.
All right, there he is, our guy John. And Kiyan Anthony almost gets filed into a whole different category. Because is he dad? No. I mean, he's good, best I can tell. Like nobody's Melo. Melo's One of, if not the best freshman in the history of college basketball for what he accomplished. The odds of getting that guy again, regardless of last name, are low. But I think the idea of Kiyan Anthony is extremely important. It was very exciting when he committed. Remember that? That wasn't that long ago when the entire Anthony family was cussing up a storm on these airwaves when we made the bold choice to air that podcast. Oh, man. Lala. You rein it in, Lala. But that was like a month and a half ago. We were all excited about Kiyan. 6 weeks ago? Feels like 9,000 years ago. It was 6 weeks ago. Not 9,000 years ago. So, as fast as it turned this way, maybe it'll turn back the other way. Maybe not. I'd at least like to, I still, regardless of who the head coach, I want to watch Kiyan Anthony play basketball. I think that would be fun. I want to see Carmelo Anthony sitting courtside or wherever at Syracuse basketball games. I would like that. I would like that. With that, we'll take a break. Hour 2 next. Phone lines remain open. 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. Back next. Q Sports Talk, ESPN Radio.
The Sports Show with Cody Mack.
Crunch on fire, Zach? All right. Maybe this can become a Syracuse Crunch radio show. Oh, they cashing them checks, Telemachus. Honestly, I think that's the biggest thing with the current era of college hoops. Like, it's really hard as fans and observers to, be invested in Lampkin or Carlos or Jair Davis or Lucas Taylor. There's no personal connection to those guys. I like crazy rumors, Ryan, and as far as crazy rumor goes, that would be one. Here's my rumor. I'm just going to start it now. Melo's just going to start tossing around NIL to get some good players to play with Kiyan. It's based on absolutely nothing, but Melo's got the cash, and I think that would be a fantastic idea. If Melo just started tossing a little NIL around here the next year or two to get Kiyan like a point guard and stuff and a center. That would be like the modern version of putting your kid on a Super AAU team, which incidentally Melo has already done. Yeah, it is a good rumor. Now, I've made it up completely, but I like it. We'll have him call you, Gaper. Yeah. So hopefully, if Melo wants to do Team Melo, the college version, I think we're on to something. Oh, well, that's good, Gaper. That'll save me some time as the middleman. They could be true, Ryan. They haven't not happened yet. Oh, my God. Could you imagine having just a Scoop Jardine? Oh, man. I'm trying to think of just pick a random good, not great player from Syracuse past that, Scoop's a great example. If you had, Scoop Jardine and Rakeem Christmas on this team. Unbelievable megastars, CBW. Somebody on Twitter last night asked me if I'd rather have Caleb Joseph than Jaquan Carlos. Actually, they asked me if I'd rather have Caleb Joseph than Daquan Carlos, not Jaquan. I note the D and the J are not next to each other on the keyboard. Man, Damone Brown. There's a name. Tony Blandland? Heck, Griff the player. Player Griff could be very useful for this year's team.
All across CNY, it's the 315 with Brian Higgins. Halfway home, we drive into the second hour with Burdick BMW.
That we do. We've started naming random former Syracuse players in the chat. That's always fun. Damone Brown. Continue about your day. 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. Phone lines open and available to you. Less than 2 hours out. Tip time tonight. In the Dome, Syracuse and Georgia Tech. See if the Orange can't pick up their first win of the season as we ride into hour 2 here. Potentially a little football down the line. Was interesting to hear the likes of one Fran Brown on the ACC network yesterday, speaking on Kyle McCord. Get to that in due time. But right now, as is tradition, there is a basketball game tonight. And if there is a Syracuse basketball game tonight, then it is our sworn duty to tell you what is going to happen in that game.
No wrong answers.
Give me a boy's name that starts with the letter H.
Jose.
There are no wrong answers.
What months of pregnancy does a woman begin to look pregnant?
September.
No wrong answers.
Something a burglar would not want to see when he breaks into a house. Rob.
Naked grandma.
Naked, huh?
I'm like an animal.
Keep your voice down.
I'm like King Kong.
All right, no wrong answers. Cuse and Georgia Tech. What do we have tonight in the Dome? A matchup of two teams hovering around 500. Georgia Tech does have 2 league wins, having knocked off Notre Dame and Boston College at home recently. Their 2 league losses on the road at Duke and at North Carolina. The Orange, as we know, is 17 games remaining, are 0-3 in the ACC. All right, J.J. Starling, second game back after missing a month with a broken left non-shooting hand. Game 1, Florida State came out hot in the opening minute, cooled down though, getting back into the swing of things, finished 5 of 16 with 12 points, did play 32 minutes. Tonight, here's what I think we see from JJ. Slightly more efficient. I got him 7 of 15 from the floor. I got JJ getting back to his scoring ways with 18 points. And I think this is where we were trending a month ago. More point guard minutes for JJ Starling, be it Kyle Cuff, be it Elijah Moore, be it Lucas Taylor, be it whatever. At the 2, I think we get yet more point guard minutes for JJ tonight as Jaquan Carlos's minutes with Starling back can continue to settle back down into the not 38 to 40 minutes range of the game. Donnie Freeman, he of little defense, he of lots of points and rebounds, I think continues both tracks tonight. Him trying to guard by Dongo tonight could be problematic, but him putting the ball in the hoop I think happens. Let's sign Donnie Freeman up for another double-double with 18 points and 10 rebounds tonight. The Chris Bell comeback tour. Don't call it a comeback? No, we'll call it a comeback. He didn't make a 3 for a month. He made 4 out of 4, scored 18 points last time out. Will he start remains the question. I know this is no wrong answers. Answer's hazy on this one. I think Bell comes off the bench again tonight. Remains sort of back. How about 11 points tonight for Chris? He goes 3 out of 7 from 3. We're going to try to will this back into existence. No Wrong Answers was one of the earliest supporters of Chapel Moore this season. And it worked out there for a minute and has not been working out a lot recently. We're going to will Chapa Moore back into existence. No wrong answers. Chapa, 2 made threes tonight. I need to see a J.J. Chapa backcourt to see what it looks like. We were starting to get it a little bit a month ago. J.J. got hurt. We never really got to see it. I need to see it. I think it's got potentially the highest potential. Use a word twice in the same sentence. For Syracuse's backcourt. What did Chapa play? Just 3 minutes last game. I think we need to see a little J.J. Chapa to see what that looks like. From the Georgia Tech perspective, Lance Terry hit 7 threes in the building last time, 2 years ago. He's averaging 2.5 threes a game this year. I say he splits the difference on that. 5 made threes tonight for Terry, 19 points for him. Javian McCollum had the bad concussion, missed a handful of games, came back and wasn't right for a few games. He's been right recently. 59 total points over the last 3 games. That's just shy of 20 a game. Put him right on 20 tonight. McCollum goes off from the outside as well. Inside by Dongo, the sophomore big man for Georgia Tech, is kind of having an up-and-down season. Syracuse has not been, guarding the rim at all with anybody. 17 points, 12 rebounds for Dongo tonight. Defense, optional in this game. Georgia Tech is 13th in the ACC. The Orange dead last, 18th right now in points allowed in the ACC. Thus, points will be scored tonight. Both teams will score them. Final score tonight. Got bad news for you. No wrong answers. Georgia Tech wins it in the Dome tonight, 85-79. Oh, boy. We got ourselves a little bit of a day tomorrow. I got Georgia Tech by 6. Coin flip kind of game. The coin flips have not been landing Syracuse's way of late, certainly when it comes to ACC play. This is a big week here. This is a big week for sanity. This is a big week for pressure on everybody. Georgia Tech tonight, winnable game. At BC Saturday, winnable game. The specter of missing the ACC tournament remains looming. I don't want to say it's a must-win game. Must-win for what? But it's a must-win game for at least restoring just a wee bit of order, a wee bit of brain cells, a wee bit of sanity here going forward. I don't know if it's going to happen. I just said it wasn't going to happen, but my goodness, hopefully it does happen tonight for the Orange basketball team. Should be a close one. Should be a close one tonight. With that, we'll take a break. When we come back, phone lines open, 315-437-7644, and maybe a little football talk that we did not get to yesterday, and some of what Fran Brown said on ACC Network last night. R.E., Kyle McCord, still nothing. Back after this, Q Sports Talk, ESPN Radio. You saw him in person? Yeah, George, we're not good at stopping the points from being scored right now. It's going to be tough for me to have more. Oh, I get plus 2.5 CBW? Ooh, plus 2.5. I might like my chances. Like that gives me a little wiggle room. I guess I picked him over in both CBW.
I'm just focused on everyone that's on the team, 100% official. I mean, of course, that's like on my mind all the time. It's the fact.
Sweet. More snow. Home team pub, Govendo. There you go. The TGL thing, like, the only thing that interests me about the TGL, Ryan, is Tiger. Like, the rest of it, the other guys I want to watch play in majors. The only thing about the TGL that I care about potentially is Tiger, and he's not on today. I don't get it. Like, how do you not have Tiger roll in week 1? Yeah, bowling ball is going to enjoy the freaking game. Let them enjoy the freaking game. Yeah, I am. I guess I am vaguely intrigued about that idea of it. But how do you not roll out Tiger week one? Like, what's the point? Like, do you not understand what you're doing? Like, Tiger's got to be on your opening show. Like, put Tiger on, and then that will cause me to both watch and see if I like it. Yeah. It's not even Rory. Like, I can watch Rory play real golf all the time. Like, get me Tiger. But yeah, put him against Rory. I mean, why not? Go all the way on it. But if Tiger's not on week one, why am I supposed to care? Yeah, bowling ball is going to go to the Dome and be miserable tonight, but gosh darn it, he's going to be there. How many people are they letting in, Ryan? I don't even know what the deal on that is. Jackie will be there. All right, we got 2. We gave away 4 tickets earlier. That's 6. There you go, bowling ball. What I really want from Tiger, and I don't know if we'll do it, is like just next in a year when he's 50, take the cart and play the senior tour. If tonight's attendance is 6, I will take full credit for all 6.
All across CNY, it's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
All right, back at it here on this Tuesday. Game day! Game night. Here's Georgia Tech coming up at 7. Pre-game show officially starts in about 45 minutes. Phone line's open if you'd like to partake today. 315-437-7644. We'll keep them open during the pregame show as well if you'd like to call it on your way to the game or whatnot. But right now, we didn't get into it yesterday. We were just yelling about basketball. We haven't had time. We haven't had time. But we got to just like, Kyle McCord, Fred Brown. Like we got to. Nothing's happened. Nothing's happened. But we got to scratch the itch a little bit.
The portal is open.
Prepare ship for ludicrous speed.
Players on the move.
Scotty, beam us up fast.
Where are they going?
To infinity and beyond.
It's another edition of Portal Watch.
Ludicrous speed. Go!
All right, so to bring us up to date of where we're at, football offseason, it's Portal Watch Day 29. The portal is officially closed for players that are not in the college football playoff, essentially, to enter. If you're in the college football playoff, you have till whatever it is, X number of days after you're eliminated to enter the portal. So a few Georgia guys went in the other day, etc. But so nothing's really happened in the last few days portal-wise for Syracuse. I know they're still eyeing a couple of linebackers out there and whatnot. The news of yesterday we never got into because A, I was kind of stunned it hadn't actually happened yet, and B, we were busy. We were busy. But Aronde Ganston officially announced his declaration for the NFL draft yesterday. He's entered his name. He's hired an agent. He's done the whole thing, so he gone. Nothing surprising there, but best of luck to Aronde going forward. I'd say I was certain like a year and a half ago he'd be in this upcoming draft. So he is. Right now on NFLmockdraftdatabase.com, which, yes, is a real place, he is the 142nd ranked prospect right now, a 4th or 5th rounder. Pro Football Focus currently has Aronde as the 8th ranked tight end in this NFL draft. So we'll see, workouts, how fast he runs, how people are viewing him, tight end or big wide receiver, whatever it is. But best of luck for Aronde heading to the NFL. He certainly goes there after his dad played many years in the league with much knowledge on what awaits him. As far as the man of any hour, one Kyle McCord, from the same NFL mock draft database.com rankings, of which they compile apparently all the mock drafts fit to print out there, of which there are, holy God, a lot. He is the 152nd ranked prospect, a.k.a. about a fifth-round pick. Pro Football Focus right now has him as the 9th ranked quarterback. Dane Brugler, friend of the show, got asked a question on Twitter the other day about Syracuse players. This was before LeQuint announced he was going to the draft. At the time, Brugler guessed that the Orange would have 4 players drafted: McCord, Arande, Fadil Diggs, and Cinco Clark. The possibility of LeQuint, who we now know is in the draft. And then he thinks Marlo Wax and Justin Barron will go undrafted, but have decent shots as sticking with teams as undrafted free agents. That all set the stage for Fran Brown yesterday, joining both of our friends David Hale and Andrea Adelson on ACC PM yesterday, on which, and this is lengthy here, we'll play a chunk of it, on which David asked Fran about all things Kyle. Is he on the team? Is he not on the team? Waiver? What's going on?
I'm just focused on everyone that's on the team, 100% official. I mean, of course, that's like on my mind all the time due to the fact of Kyle being a terrific player.
It's on all of our minds all the time, friend.
But it's still in the same sense to me. I think Kyle is like the top. Kyle should be picked within the top 5 picks of quarterbacks this year in the draft.
When he said top 5 picks, I'm like, that's a little aggressive. Then the next part of the sentence kind of cleared it up there. But yeah, here on that.
For some reason, everyone's not looking at that. I'm not sure what they're basing it off of. I just know he's went out there and he passed for more yards than everyone in the country. He's extremely intelligent. He's an extra coach on the field. I watch how he processes things. When I'm watching all these other guys that are playing and different guys that they are saying is ranked over him, but that's just an opinion. I just don't always see it like as I'm looking at it. So for me, I'd be so thankful if Kyle comes back.
As would we be all.
We want Kyle to come back and play for us, but in the same sense, I do feel that this kid is ready to play in the National Football League too, right?
It's kind of a weird spot for Fran, right? Like, you want your players to go on and succeed in the NFL. That said, if you told Fran Brown right now that his quarterback next year was Kyle McCord, that dude's just throwing a party for a week.
So it's both sides for me because I care about him and what's best for him. But whatever is best at the end, once we get the ruling back, which I think will come in this week, I think it'll be great.
When this week, Fran? When will we know?
For college football, if you did have a player like him coming back here to play at Syracuse again,
he'd be one of the highlights of the offseason.
That would be amazing for us, for our fan base. I think for him and his family, because he's truly a leader, and his leadership will definitely be missed. And try to be filled by a lot of different people, not just one person.
You can hear Fran is just tying himself in knots over this whole thing.
So his leadership will be filled by a lot of different people. But for us to get him back, it'll be amazing. He's just, if I'm an NFL GM, because I've been watching football my whole life just as well as a lot of the GMs and guys of that I feel are similar to my age, some a little older, different pieces. I don't know what they don't see unless you just want Lamar Jackson, who could just do everything, run, pass, do all that.
He's not quite Lamar.
Not like Lamar ain't out there right now. You know what I'm saying? Only other Lamar was Michael Vick.
That's right.
He's coaching now. You know what I'm saying? Big coach. So it's like who you want? You know what I'm saying? Like McNabb. McNabb ain't there. Like I don't see that. Like, and I think this guy Kyle is just, he's really dynamic when it comes to being a quarterback to me.
So, little Fran Brown yesterday, ACC PM, talking to David Hale and Andrea Adelson, both friends of the show, about McCord. And you can just hear it in his voice, man. You can just hear it in his voice that, man, I think he's ready to get drafted. We love this guy, but if he could come back, it's the same thoughts we've all been having. Like, we all watched Kyle play this season. I thought I was watching an NFL guy. Starter? I don't know. But, like, that dude, Fran said it, one of the biggest things that impressed me this year is Kyle's processing ability, making reads at the line, knowing where to go with the ball decisively. That, more than anything, is his lead NFL trait. That and, I think does he have a howitzer? No, but I think he has a strong enough arm. He makes NFL throws like he knows it. That's it. Kyle, if we could address you directly right now, if you could come back, we'd all really appreciate it. Like, this basketball thing's not going so hot right now. Football starts in like 230 some odd days. Like, if we know you're coming back for the Tennessee game, we will start a countdown. I promise. We will do. I will drive myself insane and the rest of you insane, counting down 200 plus freaking days till Kyle McCord goes down to Atlanta and takes on Tennessee. We will lose our minds over it together because, gosh darn it, we will make it the most exciting opener in the entire history of the Syracuse freaking football program. Because, man, that would be exciting. Right now, it's scary. Oh, God, Syracuse got to play Tennessee. You bring me Kyle McCord? You're not walking into a gunfight with a knife. You're walking in with heavy weaponry. You're ready to go. I cannot think in my entire life of watching Syracuse football of an off-season potential Syracuse football ruling decision, whatever you want to talk about, which has been more anticipated than this one. Like a couple years ago, we had that whole Quinn Allen thing. Like, there has been, like, will this guy declare? Will this guy come back? Like, there have been starting quarterback battles. There's been a lot of stuff. I can't think of anything like this ever that has as much heft and as much weight as the potential of maybe this guy that signed up with 1 year of eligibility remaining, randomly coming up with another year and maybe coming back and using it to face one of the most daunting schedules in the history of Syracuse football, coming off one of the more impressive seasons in the history of Syracuse football. Can we please do that? Because that sounds like fun. That's a good time had by all. Then we just kind of like hanging out with Kyle. He was we like Kyle having around. The chips, the whole thing. Can we do that? You'll get drafted next year, Kyle. It'll be fine. Don't worry about your professional future. How about our enjoyment and times? Come on. That's more important, right? That's more important to us, Kyle. Come on. You like it here. You love, the snow's fine outside right now. Everything's fine. Kyle. Come on, Kyle. All right, let's hit a break. We'll get Mike in here. We'll do a little 411 next. Little pregame show. 6 o'clock. Get back to the hoops. Take you up to the 7 o'clock tip time tonight in the Dome. It is Syracuse. It is Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech head coach Damon Stoudemire has been to the Dome before as a player in 1994, and he lost. Wear it. Lawrence Moten, John Wallace, Lucius Jackson all had big games that day in the Dome as the Orange knocked off Arizona. Man, what a wild game. Cuse, Arizona, just regular season. They had a home and home there. The Orange won both of them in the mid-'90s. Arizona won a national title not too far after that, and then the Orange not too far after that themselves. All right, let's hit a break. Much more to come after this here on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. What are you saying, Mike? Donnie Freeman out? What are you talking about? What's going on, Mike? What's happening? What's actually happening, Mike? Syracuse men's basketball official Twitter account. Donnie Freeman out tonight with a lower right leg injury. Chance Westry is out for medical reasons. What the hell is medical reasons? Didn't I? No wrong answers is already wrong. I had Donnie for 18 and 10. Gonna fire the guy because the player's hurt, Shelp? It's going to be true. It's going to be hard to win the game with Donnie out, CJC. Oh, yeah. Chaz Owens to the rescue. Look, it's Mike. That will bring you happiness, Mike. Not you, Mike. Other Mike. I only talk to Mikes. It's a new rule.
I like that rule.
Yeah, works for you. Unless you want me to leave you alone, then it doesn't.
That's true. That'd be really.
Mike says hi, Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Ah. No, Donnie Freeman. Huh, boy.
That's tough.
Yeah. Like they were already not going to have Chance Westry, but medical. What does medical reasons mean?
It means medically you can't play.
Oh.
You gotta really start watching sports more often, man.
Mike says that you just said hi, Mike, into a mic.
I did.
My name's Brian.
Mike on the mic in regards to Mike.
Give it to Naheem Tronic. There we go. The Big Duke rides tonight. Oh, man. I mean, CBW, and I'd already predicted Georgia Tech to win the game. Davis will start. CBW would be my guess. I mean, Bell might start, but it would be at the 3. Oh, man. We'll do a little breaking news on that before we start our 411 mic. I'll say it into this mic. Yeah, I'm sure Chop was probably not thrilled about the last few games, but, you know. Nope. Fran Brown. Fran Brown.
Fun fact, Fran Brown coaches my dad's favorite college team.
Yeah. Which one's that?
Syracuse.
Oh. That makes sense.
Yeah.
McCord, Brown. That's what we're left to do. We're just trying.
I can coach and play.
Your name Fran Brown?
Could be.
You.
NY. It's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
Oh. Man, just a commercial break filled with just great news. Everything's great. Everything's fine. We love everything. Everything's wonderful. In this hour, brought to you by our good friends at TVOffers.com, powered by Drivers Village in Cicero. Normally, after that happens, I'd hit this.
Here's the 411.
But no, because we got to hit this. Oh, you want the good news or the good news? This just in from the Syracuse Basketball official Twitter account. Chance Westry is out for tonight's game versus Georgia Tech for medical reasons. Okay. This just more in from the Syracuse men's basketball Twitter account. Donnie Freeman, you know him, tall guy, McDonald's All-American, highest ranked recruit in a long time. That one. Donnie Freeman is out for tonight's game versus Georgia Tech with a lower right leg injury. Ah, great. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. This team is the everything's fine meme right now. It's just everything's fine. Didn't I just tell you no wrong answers? It was like 20 minutes ago. I said Donnie was going for 18 and 10 tonight. But it's going to be tricky. I don't know if that's going to happen. Okay, so Chance Westry, who it hadn't occurred to me was going to play anyway. I don't know what's going on with Chance. He's listed, like, Donnie's out with a specific injury. Chance is out with medical reasons. I don't know what that means, but wishing the best for Chance. Obviously, his basketball career thus far at the college level has been fraught with just everything hindering him, so hoping he gets back to feeling better, whatever's going on there with Chance. Donnie out, man. It's not one thing, it's another with this year's Syracuse basketball team. We'll get more into it as we get closer to game time. Pregame starts in about 25 minutes. With that, this.
Here's the 411.
Hello, and welcome to Movie Phone.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
In the 315.
So you're going to be doing that all week, right?
Nah.
Mike's here. You got any good news, Mike?
I have news.
Oh.
Stuff that's going around the sports world.
Okay. Is it good?
Unrelated to Syracuse basketball.
Can it be good?
If you're the right person, it could be. So
all right, let's see. Let's see if I'm the right person. We need some good news, Mike. Everything's fine.
We're done with the regular season in the NFL.
Yep.
So, as always, everyone's getting fired.
Yeah, except for the Giants people.
You get fired. Yeah. Shocking.
Everything's fine in East Rutherford. Everything's fine.
I think New York sports is just going through some stuff right now.
The Jets fired everybody. They just did that a long time ago.
They did a lot earlier.
They're just interviewing everybody right now. They interviewed Rex Ryan today about their head coaching position.
That does not surprise me at all.
Like, what are you talking? Like has
hey,
something?
Rex, you want to come back?
Hey, remember when we did the thing the last time?
Remember you were like the only successful coach we've had in like 20 years?
Yeah, but then they fired him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he hasn't coached, in a long time. Yeah, why not?
Why not? Why not him? It would be good for him. Good news for him.
Let's get a GD snack.
So this leads to my question then. With all these vacancies, we got the Raiders, Jets, Jaguars, Bears, Saints, and Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
If you are somebody, Rex Ryan or someone similar,
Mm-hmm.
and these teams are approaching you, who do you feel is the best spot to go be a head coach for right now?
I thought the way you were going to phrase the question is, who do I think is the best head coach out there? The answer is Mike Vrabel. That's not the question.
You think he's best available of all the head coaches?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Like, the dude won games with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback. He made the playoffs repeatedly with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback. What is the best position right now? Nate, okay, so we got the Jets, the Patriots, the Bears, and then you listed other teams.
Saints, Jaguars, and Raiders.
Jaguars.
You think they're the best?
Well, I'm slowly eliminating.
Oh, okay.
The Raiders don't have a quarterback.
Nope.
So, and Mark Davis at last check is still their owner. So, the Saints, I don't know what they got going on right now. You got Derek Carr. I don't know. Obviously, they've had success, but I'm going to eliminate them right now. The Jaguars have a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Is he the quarterback? I don't know, but you got to consider that because they have a quarterback. Now, they didn't fire their GM, so you're going mismatched with a guy. The Bears have a quarterback in Caleb Williams. The Patriots have a quarterback in Drake May. The Jets have everything but a quarterback.
Yep.
The Jets have the best roster of any of those teams. They just don't have a quarterback.
But man, Woody Johnson. I wouldn't want him to be my owner.
The Jets and the Bears have the most it's going to go wrong history of the teams here.
If it comes down to personnel alone, between the Jets and Bears, I think is two good options of all these lists.
I think realistically, the best spot, the roster's kind of crap right now. But if you like Drake May, the best spot probably is the Patriots because in theory you'd believe in Robert Kraft and their general history of ownership.
And yeah, I think right now their team is disappointing, but it's kind of I understand why they're
them and the Raiders probably have you look at them and the Raiders have out of all those teams we just talked about are the two worst rosters. But if you're actually going to be given time, unlike Jaron Mayo was just given in New England or Pierce was given in Las Vegas, if you're actually going to be given time and willing to accept your lumps for a year or two, the answer is probably the Patriots. If you want a building job, just because you trust the ownership more. If you're intrigued by talent, one way or another, then I think your answers are the Jets or the Bears.
See, if you
think that the Trevor Lawrence thing can be fixed, then your answer might be the Jaguars.
I
could talk myself into a lot of things.
In all these given scenarios, I do feel like the Patriots are the best decision because they seem to have gotten their quarterback. And once you get a quarterback, building a team becomes a lot easier.
Yeah. Like if you're telling me that if I'm the Patriots and I'm about to hire Mike Vrabel, which I think everyone believes is what's about to happen, that makes a lot of sense to me. You got a guy that clearly gets it, like won a lot of games at Tennessee. They were the ones, like Tennessee, with Ryan Tannehill as their quarterback, was the 1 seed in the AFC playoffs not that long ago.
Yeah.
Well, they lost. They lost to the Chiefs, I think, that year. But they were the 1 seed in the playoffs. And Derrick Henry, and they won a very specific way. I think a lot of people think that Mike Vrabel can only play that way. I don't know if that's true. I think he was playing that way because he had Derrick Henry.
I agree completely.
Now, I think if you give the guy Drake May, and again, he's Mike Vrabel, he's a defensive guy, get him a strong defense. He can make a strong defense and then build something on offense around Drake May. Look it up in 3 years. I think you got a shot if you're New England.
Yeah, I think these are tiered scenarios. I think for me personally, Pats is at the top, and then like the second tier would be the Bears or the Jets. Now, if I'm looking at those two rosters, both of them underperforming. Both of them have weapons. But one's underperforming as a young team, with the exception of their current quarterback, and the other one is underperforming with, especially on offense, with an older crowd of experienced players. So I would rather go the Jets if I'm choosing outside of the Patriots, but I think the Patriots are the easy call.
I'll say this. If I'm Vrabel and I'm not 100% locked in on the Patriots, I go to the Bears and I ask them, I'm like, are you going to let me be in charge here? Or are you going to Bears it up? If they let Vrabel, I don't want to say run everything like Belichick. I think that's a terrible system. But if you're going to let Vrabel be the driving force behind what you're doing, that Bears roster is intriguing. And if you think Caleb Williams can be a dude, I think that situation is like the roster there is certainly further along than the roster in New England. If you're going to think, all right, let's say Caleb Williams and Drake May are both interesting, you could be better, faster with the Bears if they let you do something.
To my understanding, didn't Caleb Williams acquire quite a lot of sacks this year?
He got sacked a billion times. It was like 70 times. He got sacked a ton.
So they're going to need to upgrade that line. But, I mean, the Jets have to upgrade their line as well, so it's not like one's better than the other. Something we should talk about.
I have no idea where the Jets are getting a quarterback next year. I don't know what they're planning.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Russ or Justin Fields ended up there. I mean, the Steelers are going to have to get rid of one of the guys.
Tannehill's available.
Yeah, right. whether they let Wilson walk at the end of this year.
Neither Wilson or Fields are under contract for next year.
No. They're going to probably keep one, let one go. I think although Russ is the better quarterback, and I think this year he showed that he had a better year when he played opposed to when Fields played. The only reason that, in my opinion, that Justin Fields is so looked for with teams right now is the potential of who he could be. So he's still going to have a contract next year, no matter whether he's a starter or not. Someone's going to give him a deal.
Do you know what quarterback, Mike, is a big New York Jets fan?
Justin Fields?
Kyle McCord.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So we were saying the Jets are going to get from the draft. Do we want Kyle to go to the Jets, though? Because they have a really tough history.
Me personally, no. I want Kyle to come back here. That's what I want. That's selfish. I don't know if that's the best thing for Kyle. I want Kyle McCord to play quarterback for Syracuse.
That would be electrifying.
Yeah. Of all the teams I care about, I want him here. Gosh darn it, because I know that works.
Let's talk about somebody who doesn't want to be where they currently are. That's two pretty popular people in Miami, one of them being Tyreek Hill. Recently said in, I guess you'd say, not really an interview, but a question format. And like halfway through the question, just decided he was done with Miami.
Yeah, his answer took a wild tour. He was like, man, things are kind of going wonky. I might explore. I'll see you later.
Yeah, so.
Like, what? That was a weird sentence, Tyreek.
Since then, Tyreek has had a meeting with the team and the ownership and GMs and coaches said, nah, we're good. Tyreek doesn't want to go anywhere.
They're not good.
Which is a lie.
Yeah, they're not good. He's never going to play there again.
You don't tell people you don't want to play somewhere if you do, you know?
Yeah, they're not good.
The reason I wanted to talk about this in particular is because what did Tyreek Hill expect? He went from the best offense in the league to an average one, and now he's upset that team outside of him isn't doing the best. And granted, he's been missing his quarterback for half the season the last 2 years. So I don't know what he's expecting and why he's just now getting so upset. I think this is something that very easily he could have done behind closed doors and it would have been over with.
I don't think Tyreek's not a behind closed doors kind of guy.
No, he's not. Another guy who's not really a behind closed doors kind of guy, Jimmy Butler.
No.
taking it over to the hardwood of the NBA, also having issues with his current placement via roster. He has really been vocal the last, I would say, 3 or so months, pretty much since the NBA Finals, actually.
How long has he been in Miami now?
Oh, it's got to be, 4 years?
4 or 5 years? I'd say Jimmy Butler's a great player, but man, he's got an expiration date wherever he goes.
That's the thing. Then that's the thing that I personally think Jimmy Butler has to realize, and what of a lot of guys who have had his notoriety.
He's 35.
Yes, a lot of guys who have had his notoriety, they struggle to grasp the concept of, I can talk like this because this is how good I am. In set amount of years, I can no longer talk like that because I'm not quite there. Jimmy Butler, being at 35, does not have the pull to control what the Heat does.
This is his 6th season in Miami. Yeah. Like, Jimmy
and
Butler.
You got the best out of him.
Yeah, he started his career with 6 in Chicago. Then he had, it went wonky there at Minnesota. He had his year in Philly.
Minnesota was a weird time.
That was weird. That was a weird time. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what teams are going to give up from him. I don't know what you're getting. I mean, this guy, obviously, he said, like, very weirdly, he was the best player on 2 Heat teams that made the finals. Mm-hmm. Like the bubble team and the one a couple of years ago.
And without a doubt, the best player.
Without a doubt, the best player.
Close.
But it also came completely out of the blue. You couldn't have seen that coming.
No. I mean, he acquired the nickname Playoff Jimmy. I mean, he just stepped it up that bubble year, and ever since then, when it comes to the playoffs, he's been on for the most part, a different level.
Best barista in the NBA, though. I mean,
I have heard that.
He'll make you a coffee now. Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart, right there.
He'll make you a nice little a Cuban drip or something.
Honestly, though, any NBA teams out there, that's someone who likes to work. Do you think Jimmy Butler needs coffee money from people? No, he's doing it because he's passionate. No days off. Always earning.
But it's $20 a cup.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, supply and demand.
Artisanal.
Okay, can we have a conversation real quick?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what that word means.
It means whatever you want it to mean. It makes things fancier. Oh, this is an artisanal brew. Oh.
Okay. You're very artisanal. I want it to mean good, and you said it can mean whatever I want. So right now,
okay, yeah, I think it just makes things sound better. It's like you know how some things in like food and beverage and whatnot are regulated by the government.
Yeah,
artisanal is not.
Oh,
you can say whatever you want. It's an artisanal cheese.
I'm just gonna put it wherever I want.
Oh, look at that.
All right,
that's my artisanal basket of fruit.
Before we get out of here and wrap up, we got to talk at least a little bit about the NFL playoffs. Talked about the end of the season. Wild cards start this weekend. The Eagles are expecting Jalen Hurts to play on Sunday against the Packers.
Yep.
And this is really big talking point right now because if you take Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, they are debatably a Super Bowl team. If you take the Eagles without Jalen Hurts, I couldn't be paid to watch them play.
No, disgusting. Hurts is going to play, it sounds like. He technically hasn't been cleared from the concussion. It's just because he literally hasn't practiced enough days to make it through the rules, but he's back practicing. He'll play this week. I think I like the Packers. They've been a little wonky of late. I'll take the Eagles in that game.
I will as well, and that's because I've doubted the Eagles the entire season, and I've been wrong the entire season. So I have a lot of faith that they will do very well. I am interested to see how Love does. Last year, his playoff...
He banged up his hand the other day. I don't know if anything's gone with that.
And last year, he played much better in the playoffs to end the year than he did the regular season.
He was fantastic in the playoffs.
So I'm really excited to see how he does in this year's playoffs.
All right, there we are.
But I go Eagles.
There we go. I'll go that way. We'll certainly get more in depth on that later in the week as we get closer to the games, and many of which will be on these airways. We'll whip it around on Friday. Oh, yeah. We'll talk to Jordan Renan from ESPN about the Giants tomorrow. You know what they're not going to be doing this week?
Playing football.
Because they stink. Oh, my Giants.
It's all right, man.
Maybe Kyle McCord will be on the Giants next year.
I would say I know your pain, but I'm a Steelers fan, so our bad years are like your better than average
Welcome
years.
to your first-round playoff loss this year. It's the Giants' dream to lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Listen, man. Mike Tomlin, I mean, if you think you should be fired, you should be fired. I don't care where you work.
Okay. With that, just if it has nothing to do with sports, you're like, I work a desk job. You think, get out. All right. What's on tap next? Q Sports Talk, ESPN Radio. David Montgomery's going to be back, Ryan? Really? I thought he was done so. That's big for them. He's very important to what they do, as good as Gibbs has been lately. Montgomery's... They need that. You go to the Roadhouse, Gavendo? I haven't been there in a minute. I like them.
Quinty Allen.
Yeah, Billy, I know you put this into YouTube a while. I want to see the backcourt of JJ and Chapa get some run. That hoop is sideways. I assumed that's what Gavendo was talking about was Bull and Bear.
Oh, that looks so good, too.
I like the Bull and Bear Roadhouse. I like the Bull and Bear establishments. I like the Bull and the Bear. So, yeah. 1, 3. Five. Texas Roadhouse. Different Roadhouse. I like the Bull and Bear Roadhouse. Texas Roadhouse is a solid chain. Haven't been there in a while either. I saw that, Ryan. They were in the middle of announcing their state award winners today when I was on Twitter. They must have finished by now. NSMA. Who is the New York Iron Eagle is the national broadcaster of the year? Let's see. Where was I? Have they gotten to New York yet? Both Mike Waters and Donna Ditota have won awards from them quasi recently. Gary Cohen, the New York State Sportscaster of the Year for you Mets fans. Let's see. Anybody I know on any of these lists? Let's scroll through. Let's look through the states. Jason Benetti, Michigan Sportscaster of the Year with the Tigers. Former Illinois Sportscaster of the Year. Let's see. Who else do we know on here? Who else do we know on here? Mean Gene Deckerhoff, former voice of the Knowles, now just the Buccaneers. He's a trip. Let's see. Who else do we know on this list? Matt Neverett of the UNLV play-by-play. He was on Orange Nation before the UNLV game. Hey, Anish Shroff, North Carolina Sportscaster of the Year in a tie.
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com.
Hey, it's Pastor Tim. What's up, Tim? Yeah, I haven't heard about your urinals yet, San Diego Q's. The day is young, though.
Higgins.
All right, rolling along here, wrapping things up in the 315. Don't go anywhere, though. We'll be right back with you for the pregame show. If you're with us in Q Sports Talk, you may need to refresh or check out the new stream coming up at 6, but we'll be rocking 6 to 7 on pregame. Talk about Donnie Freeman out injured. Chance Westry, who had kind of forgotten about a little bit, is apparently out with a medical issue of some sort, so don't know what the deal is there. Wishing him well. We'll see what the starting lineup is. Before we get to it, we'll play back a little bit of Devo on the show from yesterday as well. And for tomorrow,
here's what's on tap tonight.
there we go. So pregame coming up. Tim Leonard's got postgame for you. The game, of course, a TK ESPN 1200 ACC network for your television. Tomorrow on the program, Griff 4:30. First of our weekly visits with Alan Griffin tomorrow, and we'll check in with Jordan Renan, see what's up with the New York football Giants. So first of our weekly Wednesday visits with Alan Griffin commences on the show tomorrow. With that, don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with the pregame show coming up next year on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
The 315 with Brian Higgins.
You, our fine listeners, are fed up.